Online debate about financial education of children and youth. My name is Margareta Przybyła. I am representing Czepczyński Family Foundation, and I am acting as International Cooperation and Partnerships Coordinator at the Czepczyński Family Foundation. We are gathering today at the occasion of Global Money Week that is organized on an annual basis by OECD. And this is always a great opportunity to talk about financial education and financial literacy in order to raise awareness among various stakeholders, including national and EU decision makers. But this is also always a great opportunity to connect with like-minded people and to exchange best practice. And this is actually what we are going to do today. I would like to first to present to you shortly the agenda and the housekeeping rules. So I would like to ask my colleague to share the agenda. So as you will see, we will start with presentation from Thomas Montcourrier from OECD, who will tell us a bit more about Global Money Week and about financial education. But Thomas will especially focus on a recently adopted joint EU-OECD financial competence framework for children and youth. And this is a great instrument actually to be used in financial education. And then afterwards, we will move to a moderated panel debate, and you will have an opportunity to hear about examples of best practice in financial education from 6 European countries. And I am very happy to have with me representatives of 6 organizations, and thank you. I would like to thank you first for joining us. So we will hear about experience from Ukraine, and this will be presented by Victoria Rolik. Then we will also hear from Marie-Veronique Bryon from France. Afterwards, we will have also Tiziana dell'Orto from Italy. We will be also hopefully joined by my colleague Paweł Kaczmarczyk, who will present some best practice from Poland. And we will also see from Tova Larsson from Sweden and Frank Norbeck from Norway. And as also, on one side, schools play a great role in education, but as you will see, also the NGOs and private organizations, but of course, also parents play a great role in financial education of children and youth. So I am very happy that we will also hear some reaction from Arja Krauchenberg, who is representing the European Parents Association. And at the end, we will also have some time for question and answers. So if you have a question, you may write it in the chat, and we will choose some of them for later discussion. And now, without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Thomas Montcourrier from OECD. So Thomas, you can start sharing your presentation. Thomas is a policy analyst at OECD in the Directorate for Financial and Enterprise Affairs. So Thomas, please, the floor is yours, and you have 10 minutes. And I will really keep an eye on the time because we have many experts and not a lot of time. So please, Thomas, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Margareta. Thank you. Hello, good morning. Good morning, everybody. I hope you can see my presentation.
Yes, we do.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Hello. Good morning. Happy Global Money Week to everybody. Let me first thank the Czepczyński Foundation for the invitation. It's really important event. And today I will just, to start the discussion, present you briefly an important deliverable that can support financial education of children in Europe, which is the OECD EU financial competence framework for children and youth in the EU that has been released last year in September 2023. So first of all, what are financial competences and what are the existing frameworks? So financial competencies refer to the aspects of knowledge, behavior, and attitudes that form the basis of sound financial decision. So it basically mirrors the definition of financial literacy. Of course, one does not expect someone to master all the competencies, but it should rather be seen as a dynamic process that occurs throughout life. And before this OECD EU framework, there were, let's say, 4 internationally recognized frameworks existing. So one for youth and adults that were published in 2015 and 2016, but also one for MSMEs and investors that was the later was developed together with IOSCO. And so a few words of context for this framework. So it follows measures that were announced as part of the Capital Market Union Action Plan of the European Commission. So it was one of the deliverables foreseen in the Capital Market Union Action Plan. And it was built on the basis of the financial competence framework for youth that I just mentioned before, and also some national competencies framework that were developed by EU member states in the meantime. So all of them were used as a starting point to develop this one. It was a joint work between the OECD International Network for Financial Education, the European Commission, member states, as well as experts and practitioners on financial education for young people. And it follows another presentation that was published and that was specifically dedicated to adults. So the goals of this framework are to first provide EU-level terminology and the shared understanding of what are the most relevant financial competence frame for children and youth. So it kind of provide a harmonized benchmark on this matter. It can support the development, the implementation, and the update of both national strategies for financial education that most countries in Europe have in place, but also support the design and development of individual financial education program. Of course, it can also support the integration of financial literacy elements within curricula for schools, which I'm sure will be mentioned many times today. And it can also support financial literacy level of children through surveys or questionnaires, and also importantly support the evaluation of national financial literacy programs, with, of course, the overall goals to support financial well-being, which is the ultimate goal, let's say, about of financial education. So the overarching goals of the framework is to make children able to manage money effectively in the short and long term, to make them able to make sound and informed financial decisions, being aware of the consequences of this decision, and being confident enough to seek assistance when needed. It also supports them to have a basic understanding of the economic and financial landscape, and ultimately be adequately prepared for the economic and financial aspects of adult life. So the framework is structured around 3 dimensions that support financial literacy throughout life, which are, as you all know, awareness, knowledge, and understanding on one hand, then skills and behavior, and attitudes. So according to the OECD definition of financial literacy. And the framework is structured around 3 age groups. So it starts very early, because it's really important to start financial education very early. So there are 3 age groups from 6 to 10, 11 to 15, and 16 to 18. And these choices of groups broadly reflect the progression of education level across the EU. And it recognizes that children develop competences gradually over time. So these age groups are indicative, and of course they can be modified when implemented at national level. And importantly, these competences are cumulative, meaning that when one competence is mastered, the following age group should use this competence as a basis. And this framework has been developed having in mind the context in which children and youth might evolve. These are inspired by the Program for International Student Assessment, PISA. So it takes into account the fact that children evolve in an education environment, of course, so importantly the role of school, but also takes into account the fact that they can work on an occasional basis outside school hours. It takes into account home and family to capture the fact that many financial decisions of children and young are taken in the context of family and household finances. It takes into account the individual context, meaning that many risks and responsibilities must be borne by individuals, even at young age. And last but not least, the societal context, which recognize the importance of the broader landscape in which decisions are taken. So now about the content of the framework. It's structured around four main items that capture all relevant competencies. So I won't go in all of them because there are many competencies, but the four main areas are money and transactions. So incorporating different forms and purposes of money, ways of paying and receiving money, income, and so on. Then a second really important part about planning and managing finances. So reflecting the importance and planning and managing income and wealth over both the short and long term. A part about risk and reward, so being able to identify risk and reward, the relationship between risk and reward, and the way to mitigate these risks. And finally, the financial landscape, which relates to the characteristics and features of the financial world in which they evolve. Covering aspects such as consumer protection, scams and fraud, the importance of financial education, and so on. And also the framework includes some cross-cutting dimensions, so that, let's say, apply to all of this content area, and that reflects recent developments, let's say. So it includes digitalization, of course, with issues such as crypto assets, personal data protection, influencers, finfluencers, and so on. Aspects related to sustainable finance, to citizenship, so that can all the competencies that can foster a kind of sense of community and encourage civically responsible behaviors. It also includes competence to develop the entrepreneurial mindset of children and youth, and also competencies that may be relevant when youth turn 18. And for implementing this framework, an Excel database was developed to make it easier for user to browse and filter competencies, so they can be filtered out based on either the subject, the age, the dimension, so awareness, skills, behavior, and attitudes. And also, in addition, different tags are used to flag different dimensions. So the next step, of course, this framework is for voluntary uptake by member states and can be used also by non-EU countries as a benchmark. It's actually translated in all the EU language, but Gaelic. So sorry for Gaelic-speaking people. And in 2024, we will facilitate the uptake of the framework with exchange of views and exchange of good practice. And just a last word, if I may, about the PISA assessment. So as you know, the OECD conduct PISA assessment of student financial literacy. So in 2012, it was possible to incorporate within the PISA assessment some financial literacy components into the whole PISA exercise. And this the results for the last PISA exercise that was conducted in 2022 will be available during the launch in June 2024. So stay tuned. And thank you very much for your attention. And I'm looking forward for the discussion. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Thomas. Maybe just two, short comments from my side. I think what is very close to my heart and to the heart of our foundation is what you said, that we should start with financial education as soon as possible. And this is why, for example, we have education programs addressed at children already aged 5. And indeed, the joint competence framework offers the set of skills for children aged from 6 to 10. And second comment would be that indeed, I mean, this joint competence framework is really a very useful and great instrument. And I think you would also support me in this call to everybody to really use it, and also to share the practice with OECD, because it would be great to see how this competence framework is implemented in the practice. So thank you very much. Thomas is staying with us. So if you have any questions, please write in the chat, and he will also react later after the debate. And this is the highest time also to start with the moderated debate. So I would like to, first of all, thank to all the participants that they agreed to join us today. It's really impressive to see around one virtual table representatives from so many countries, but also like-minded people who believe that financial education is key. And before you will present your projects and activities with regards to financial education, I would like first to ask you if you could tell us what is the situation in your country with regards to financial education. So is it obligatory for young people to learn about finances at school? And if yes, from what age? And do you have maybe already a national strategy for financial education? And I would like actually to start with Victoria Rolik from Ukraine. She's representing National Bank of Ukraine, because I was very much impressed to hear how much Ukraine is doing with regards to financial education, especially taking into account your difficult situation. And I think you can also share with us already that you have already translated the joint competence framework in Ukrainian and you start using it. So that's very impressive. So Victoria, please tell us what's the situation in your country, and if you could stick to 2 minutes, that would be perfect. Thank you.
Okay, I'll try. So happy Global Money Week to all dear colleagues and guests. So my name is Victoria Rolik, and I work in the National Bank of Ukraine. And first of all, many thanks for the invitation, and I'm very grateful to organizers and the participants for their efforts to promote financial literacy worldwide. So it's a great honor for me to be present here with you today and highlight some key points on financial education of children in Ukraine. So as Margareta kindly mentioned, so financial education has remained a priority in spite of the ongoing war in the country, and it is considered very important to Ukraine's post-war recovery. One may lose money and property, but must never lose hope. And financial literacy helps to overcome many difficulties and feel more confident and satisfied. So, if we're to cut it very short, there are 4 main target groups, and we also believe, as Thomas and Margareta just mentioned, that we should start financial education as early as possible. So we also start from 5, from kindergartens. Then there are, of course, school education, students, and of course, educators themselves and the adult population. So there are several ways for financial education at schools in Ukraine. First of all, according to our reform of education, so it is called New Ukrainian School, there are 11 core competencies. So they are obligatory to be included in all subjects, and financial literacy and entrepreneurship is one of them. This means that all teachers should include financial literacy in different subjects. For example, not only in mathematics or IT, but even physical training or language courses and literature. So this is fixed in our state standards of education. Secondly, there is an optional subject available for students who go to 10 and 11 classes. But this is not very much widespread because there is a lack of teachers who are able to teach this subject. And very soon, within 1 year, there will be a new compulsory subject for students who go to 8 and 9 classes. And we are doing big work to get ready for this. So there is already a curriculum developed by the experts of the National Bank of Ukraine. And there is also, as Margareta mentioned, the financial competencies framework for children and youth. And it is not only the translation, but it also includes our national component. So some specific laws which are different, and all our financial regulators participated in developing this document. But of course, we were very much inspired and based on the OECD Info Financial Competencies Framework. And before the implementation of the course, because colleagues talked about PISA, and I also would like to say that we also study PISA experience. So we also want to make zero test, because we want to find out what is the level of knowledge of our students, so that we can develop nice textbooks and nice online courses for them. So
perfect.
Okay, for 2 minutes.
Yes. Thank you, Victoria. And I let you even speak a bit more, because I know that as National Bank of Ukraine, you are directly involved in developing financial and providing financial education in Ukraine. So it's a bit different than for the other organizations. But you will be able to tell us more in the second stage of the debate. Thank you very much. And I would like to move now to France, actually, to Marie-Veronique Bryon. Marie-Veronique, if you could just very shortly tell us, what is the state of play in France? Do children learn about finances at school, or this is rather for the, NGOs and private institutions?
No, thank you, Margareta, and thank you for the organization of this debate. In France, well, it took a lot of time to settle a national strategy. I think it was very important that it was encouraged at the European level. And I can say that my structure, just to say a few words about Pedagogie, was a pioneer of financial education in France. We were created in 1957 by the French savings banks. So we are a private organization, and we deliver from the very beginning. We delivered conferences. We organized workshops for all kind of publics, but especially for young people. So we were in advance. But since I don't remember when it was settled, but now we have a national strategy, and it is the operator is Banque de France. So we have a major actor of financial education in France. They coordinate a lot of initiatives. So that's great, because on the national ground, we have a lot of initiatives. Like, for example, I can tell you that there is a big program for high school, for pupils in high school, les collégiens, and we have the Banque de France. They pilot a passport for financial education, and I think I don't remember the number of pupils, but it's a high amount. And then there is also what we call Service National Universel. We don't have a military service, not anymore, and so we try to there is something missing. So to reach the whole a whole generation. So we have this Service National Universel, and there is financial literacy that is inside the program. So, and many things. So we are a member, Pedagogie, of the national strategy in France. And I think the results with PISA are a little bit better. So we can see the results already.
Perfect. I thank you. I think your example shows also, the role that financial institutions are playing in financial education, especially banks. We have seen the National Bank of Ukraine, and now you say also the Bank of France. So that's also an important element. Now I would like to move to Italy. Tiziana, if you could tell us what's the situation in Italy with regards to financial education, please.
Hello to everybody. Thank you very much for this invitation. I'm Tiziana dell'Orto, and I'm the Secretary General of the Italian EY Foundation, and I'm also the Director of the Corporate Responsibility and Sustainability of the EY Network in Italy. I just want to say a few things about EY. EY is a multinational company that is working in 150 countries in the world, and provides consulting, assurance, tax, and transaction services. with the aim to build a better working world for all. And coming to your question, in our nation, various initiatives have been launched over the past years, focus on financial education in schools. This is because in Italy, financial education wasn't a compulsory element in the academic curriculum. As a result, numerous organizations proposed their own programs to primary and secondary schools. But in recent times, in 2023, the Council of Ministers approved the Competitiveness Bill, which incorporates financial education into civic education. Hence, in an interdisciplinary and cross-curricular perspective, finance, saving and investment became focal points in the educational program. And the aim is to cultivate financially literate and aware citizens who can fully participate in the country's economic life. To promote financial literacy, the legislative decree provides forms of cooperation between institutional entities and stakeholders harboring economic interests. Guidelines have been established for the study of financial education in primary and secondary school, with key topics including money and price management, payments and purchasing strategies, and income planning. But as I told you at the beginning, over the past years, several private financial education initiatives have been implemented by institutions such as the Bank of Italy, CONSOB, Committee for Planning and Coordinating Financial Education Activity, and other prestigious associations in the field, and also EY has developed programs related to financial education for secondary school as part of a broader entrepreneurial literacy initiative.
Perfect. Thank you, Tiziana. I think what you have just said shows that indeed the role of schools is growing, but still a lot is done by private organizations and NGOs. And indeed, I think that's also a bit similar like in Poland. So I would like now to invite my colleague from the Czepczyński Family Foundation, Paweł Kaczmarczyk, who would share with us some basic information about the situation in Poland. Please, Paweł.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for this important debate and for all the examples from other countries. We are the foundation that is operating, of course, mainly in Poland, but also on several markets in Europe. So it's great to hear all the programs and initiatives that are taken in other member states. In Poland, financial education actually is from the age of 6 years old, but it's in this curriculum of our Polish education system. However, teachers say very often that they do not have sufficient materials, and it's very difficult for them to provide this education, especially on primary level. We have entrepreneurship education, a subject that is always taught in secondary schools in Poland. And this is actually the only bigger and well-known and already implemented for many years in Poland program that familiarizes students, teenagers, with basics of entrepreneurship, with capital markets, and tells about how to operate business and how to become an entrepreneur. However, again, we have some research about this program, about this subject, and many teachers from secondary schools say that they are not well prepared in their education to provide such lessons. Again, we are lacking some materials as well. And very often the students say that these lessons are simply not enough providing them information with practical knowledge. They are too much theoretical. So generally speaking, in Poland, yes, we have financial education. We have recently developed, together with Polish administration, a new strategy for financial education for years 2024 2030. And we as the foundation were also one of the participants of creating this strategy. And I believe that this is a very good step towards real and successful financial education in Poland. We are very happy that we have a year of financial education this year in Poland, 2024. And this is a great chance to implement this new strategy that was implemented together with OECD, that was consultant with European institutions, DG FISMA and others. So I would say that it's a great moment right now for Poland to develop and enhance financial literacy in Poland from primary schools up to higher schools, secondary schools.
Yes, thank you, Paweł. Indeed, we are very happy that our country has developed the financial education strategy, and credits go also to OECD and the European Commission, who are actually supporting member states in developing these initiatives. Great, thank you. Now I would like to move to Scandinavia. And it's being said that the Scandinavian education systems are one of the best in the world. So let's see whether this is also the case of financial education. I would like to invite Tova Larsson from Sweden. Yes, Tova, of course, please present yourself and your organization and tell us a bit about the situation in Sweden.
Absolutely, thank you. So I work for a Swedish NGO which educates high school students about personal finance. And in Sweden, we have no national financial education strategy, but the topic is covered a bit, at least, in schools. So, for example, in lower secondary school, it's a small amount about household economy. And then in upper secondary schools, it's have been a part of the social studies about savings mostly. But actually in Sweden, the financial education is changing this year. So the current curriculum has been active since 2011. But now with the next year, it's a new curriculum has been presented. And actually in the social studies, has increased the amount about this topic. So now it will also be covered about insurance, about loans, and more types of savings. And why we believe that this is important, both because we see that the students actually want to learn about this. We also in Sweden, it's a quite strong stock culture. So the Swedish pension system, for example, gives everyone that is working in Sweden receives funds. And so almost everyone in Sweden owns stocks or funds in some way. And then an understanding about this is very important. So there is in schools, but we have no national financial education strategy.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Tova. And without further ado, I would like to move to Frank from Norway. Is it similar to Sweden, or there are some differences, Frank?
Good morning, Margareta, and thank you for participating. It's kind of slightly different because Tova said that they have this curriculum since 2011, and then I kind of happy to say that as Sweden's little brother in Scandinavia, we have a new curriculum from 2020. So and this curriculum has a really important overall part, which provides direction for training in subjects. And all subjects contribute to realizing the broad purpose of the training. And we have some topics in this curriculum in the overall part, and it's about public health and life management. And of course, with this financial literacy and the topic, it's of course so important that the pupils know something about financial, so they can master their own life. So they are able to understand everything around it. They are able to influence factors that are important to master their own life. It's like when they are teenagers, and we are starting with this at the secondary school. And if they are teenagers, they have to understand that the money is not made from the opening at the ATM. So we have to go to make a program for them, and we have done that in JA Mid Norway. We have make a program for them so they can have a better understanding of their private financials. Our biggest problem right now is that we have this new curriculum, but the teacher education in Norway, they don't have this topic in the teachers' educations. So that's why we, as an organization, together with the financial institutions, are going together in the schools, in the secondary school and upper secondary school, and have these courses about private economics.
Yes, indeed. I think that's a common challenge in many countries, the lack of skills and instruments. So yeah, such initiatives are very much needed. And I think what's also interesting, what you said, and Tova, that I think we really need to adapt the content to different age groups and really teach and about the issues that are really practical, have a practical dimension for, let's say, for example, for young people that start to deal with their personal finances. Okay, great. Thank you, Frank. So we finished the first round of questions on time. So I'm very happy for this. And we can start with the second round where you will be able to share examples of best practice. So you will be able to tell us more about the project, what you are doing. And as we have said, we see that the role of schools is growing. However, still private organizations and NGOs play a very important role when it comes to financial education. And I would like to start this round with my colleague, actually, Paweł Kaczmarczyk. So I would like to start with Paweł because our foundation, as I said, we really believe that we should start with financial education as soon as possible. And our foundation has indeed an education program for children aged from 5 to 10. So Paweł, if you could tell us a bit more about the project, what the foundation is doing, and why your project ABC of Economics is so much appreciated by teachers and students. And for this part, you have 5 minutes, please.
Okay, I'll try. Well, to start from the beginning, as it was said previously by our colleagues from other countries, we also had a problem with not sufficient knowledge among teachers how to teach finances, economics in schools or preschools. That's why we have developed a project where teachers prepared educational financial literacy project for other teachers, for schools and preschools. We decided to aim the project for children from aged 5 to 10, because this is actually the age when children start asking questions. Why parents go to work? Where does money come from? What kind of work I can have in the future? Why do you have to go to work so often, so much? Why can't we have everything, and so on and so on? So parents very often don't know how to answer these questions. In Poland, for example, money and earnings are kind of a taboo subject. So they don't know actually how to answer children. That's why we have prepared a book, ABC of Economics, that's showing the one school year of 6-year-old children, Sophie and Max and their friends. And with their adventures, we can follow how they are acquiring knowledge about finances. So this is something easy to understand for children. They're traveling with Max and Sophie to stores, they're going to the market, they have school trip to a factory and confectionery store. They talk about volunteerism, about poverty, about savings and earnings, and what parents can do, what are our home duties. So all the most important things that children actually should know at this age, and they do want to know. We have prepared not only the book with stories, but also a set of exercises, worksheets and workbooks for pupils and for teachers. Teachers also get infographics to help explain most important issues during the lesson. And we have also two different approaches. So one approach is material for teachers how to run lesson in preschool, where children can't read, when they need to move a lot, when they want to have a lot of plays and fun and music. So one book, but a different approach to the lesson. And then with the same book, we have a different scenario for lessons for teachers who have lessons with kids at school in grades 1, 2, and 3, where children can already have book in front of them, read the story, and then talk about it. A bit different workbook here and a big different worksheets for children. And during these 12 lessons, children learn the most important things in financial literacy, kind of an introduction to finance world and economics. And we believe that thanks to such program, children can get the most important knowledge, but simply be interested in finance, be interested in the world of work, money, and entrepreneurship, which enables them later to choose subjects in future education, subjects concerned and connected with economics, entrepreneurship, mathematics, finances. If children do not know it, if they don't understand it, if they don't like it, it's unlikely that they will choose simply such subjects in future education. We have prepared the materials not only in writing, in paper, but also as EPUBs, as audiobooks, so children can actually listen to it. We can run the lesson in hybrid mode, so it's well prepared. And the most important thing for the end is that we provide also teaching and coaching materials for teachers, so they acquire the knowledge that they did not get during their studies, so they feel more comfortable. We are teaching them why we should teach finances, how to talk to children in different age stages about finance, and how to work with the materials that we have provided. We believe that such complex program that is left at schools will help teachers and schools to provide financial education throughout many years, because materials, online materials, stays with school and children and can be learned and used in next years to come.
Yes, thank you. I can also say from my experience, what I believe is really unique about this project is that it's really complex. So it provides instruments for children, but at the same time, instruments to teachers, training to teachers that they can just easily run classes. So that's really unique. And I think what's also important to say and share that this program is available not only in Polish, but we have also various language versions, and we run pilot projects in EU countries, in Germany, in Italy. Currently, we're also developing new language versions like French language versions. So that's really it shows that there is that also in other EU member states there is a need for financial education programs for small children.
Well, altogether, these are 3,300 schools in Poland and almost 100 schools in Europe in different countries. So it's already, I believe, well recognized.
Already impressive. Yes, thank you. Now I would like to move to Marie-Veronique from France. Yes, so I would like to move to you, Marie-Veronique, because from what I understand, you have various activities that are adapted to different age groups. So I think you start with 10, but then you continue. And then you have also programs addressed at young people. So please share with us some more information.
Yes, it's, well, I must say that for Pedagogie, we don't address to very young people. I must say that what you do with the Czepczyński Foundation, we don't do it because, well, it's a question. We have an organization. We are a training organization, and we have 24 trainers all over France. And of course, the savings banks, they are, they are former bankers. They are bankers, and they are trainers. And as there are only 24 of them, it's too limited to be able to address a whole a huge amount of pupils. So we have to prioritize our actions. And it's why generally we offer training. It's more at 15 or 16. So under it happens, but it's quite it's not so common. But we have partnerships with Fédération Bancaire Française, with the Banque de France, and as we are partners, we are participating in these initiatives aimed at pupils around 10, 11, 12. You see, that's just the comment I wanted to make. We address more to pupils in high school and especially, and really we try to touch young people who are approaching to adult life, to professional life. And we have main actions are oriented towards, for example, students or apprentices, you say, I think, apprentices. So really when they are close to entering the professional life, but of course, we take benefit from what has been done before through programs like J'invite un banquier dans ma classe or le SNU, as I told you before, you see. And of course, I agree with, I don't remember who told us about this, but parents have a central role in talking with their children about money and giving them values also around the use of money. And I think as we train adults and parents, indirectly, we have an action with young people. So to finish, we train about 20,000 young people a year. This is quite a huge figure, but it's of course not enough regarding the needs.
Yeah, indeed. But you have also interesting projects aimed at young people, like, for example, aimed at students who would like to study abroad, that you guide them through all the costs that they would need to foresee, prepare. And you also, I think, have like a market stock exchange experience. It's also, for young people.
Yes. I wanted to, because I thought it was maybe something I could develop afterwards. But of course, we try to reach young people. It's a new generation. They don't use the same tools. They don't speak sometimes the same language. So we have to reach them. And it's why we have developed an app to help French students to anticipate their studies abroad. So it's a pilot student, it's an app. And as regarding stock market learning, it's a European program with the European savings banks. And I think I heard from our colleague from Sweden that in some countries, pensions are really much in relation with stock markets. So we give we offer, it's a program very practical on how to know a little bit better about stock markets. Mm-hmm. It's Planspielbörse, maybe you know better the name in German.
It's like really practical experience. So it gives like a real taste how it is working. I think also what is interesting and very important and inspiring is that you use indeed the new technologies and digitalization, like this app for students. Of course, indeed, as you say, for them it's a daily life to use different apps. And I think if you plan for your studies abroad and you can have an app that helps you, guides you through the whole process, I think that's really an interesting invention. Okay, great. Thank you, Marie-Veronique. I would like now to move to Tova from Sweden, as you are also addressing your activities mainly and young people. And I think also what is, for me at least, it was something new that I have learned, that you also train young people to teach even younger people, their colleagues, so to have really like a peer-to-peer relationship. So happy to hear a bit more details about what you are doing in France.
Yes, or in Sweden.
Oh, sorry,
yeah.
Sweden. We already moved from France to Sweden.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so I work for Ungt Privatekonomi, which in English is Young Personal Finance. And it's a school project that educates through lectures and books for upper secondary schools. And our organization started in 2008 with this type of business that we have today. And we have educated about 350,000 students during those years. And we are offering everything for free for the schools. There is a foundation behind us which guarantees that we are independent. And then we also have 7 trade associations or companies which support and finance the project, so we can educate even more people. And the lectures are held through, as you said, 15 university students. So this is people that work part-time with lecturing, and they are responsible for their region in Sweden, and they are booking the lectures with the teachers. So our lecture is 1 hour long, and it's we inspire and educate about investments and about loans, savings, insurance, and also a little bit about pensions. And one of the best practices, as you said, I believe, is the concept with other students that are the ones that educate. Because when young people meet other young people, which are maybe just some years older, we believe that the lectures become funnier and more reachable for the students. That they believe that if this person can, then I also can learn this or do like this, or for example. And we also realized that these part-time employees makes us more efficient, since we are out in schools, mostly physical, and then we can reach more students and spend less time on traveling when they are doing part-time than having more people educating through the whole of Sweden. And I can also tell you that for 2 years ago, we started a project which with an extra collaboration with some schools. And that's the schools that guarantees that every student in their school will receive this knowledge. And then it's a certificate for those schools, and they also receive some extra material about financial competences. And everything is free, and we have 90 schools today, which is certified by us. And we also the last years have worked a bit with policy work about financial education in schools. And we've done this through debates, media. We've done suggestions to the National Agency for Education in Sweden, and also meetings with politicians. Since we are, for example, working on elective courses, since in Sweden, in upper secondary schools, students can choose some courses by themselves, and there we believe about personal finance would be possible for the people that is actually interested, at least. And why we think this is important is because we've done surveys with the students and seen what they think about the economy, and we have presented and this results we have presented in the suggestions and in the contact with the politicians. And in those numbers, we actually saw that 94% of the students in Sweden would like to learn about personal finance in school. And so we see that the students would like to know more about this, and we also see that it's important from the society.
Indeed, I mean, it's great that there is this awareness that they know that this is important and they want to learn about it. I actually wanted to ask you, from your experience, what are the issues the young people want to learn about? Probably it's not about pension, how to save for a pension, but what they are interested in.
Yeah, actually, I would say it's 2 different types of questions. Sometimes it's very practical. How do I buy a stock? What is this type of loan, for example? But it could also be a much wider questions, like what is money, what should I do with these savings when I'm old? I want those money right now. It could be more very large question, which could be hard to answer actually.
Yeah, more general one. But indeed, I mean, recently I was taking part in a conference organized by the Belgian presidency and by European Commission, and we are also discussing what young people want to know about finances. And one of the question was, where do I get money from to have a driving license, for example, or for example, taking a loan for studying. Yes, in some countries, this is still very popular and standard to take a loan for studies. And that's also important for young people to know, to understand what a loan is, about the interest rates and so on. So really important, indeed important knowledge. Okay, great. Now I will move from Sweden to Norway, so not really far away. And I will ask Frank to share with us your experience, Frank. I know you focus a lot, you focus also on young people, but you focus also a lot on entrepreneurship to support young people, to support them, for example, in establishing even startups. So if you could tell us a bit more about your approach, please.
Yeah, I will. It's so interesting to listen to Tova, because she is working so much like us. So, but we have actually a dozen different programs from primary school to the university. And as you said, Margareta, our main programs, it's this youth company for pupils in upper secondary school. And here in Norway, we have as well mini companies for pupils at secondary school. And of course, when you are 14 years old or 17 years old, and when you are establish your own company, you are running your own company, and they're also going to close down their company. So they will learn a lot about economics in this period for about a year. So, and this is the kind of the core business in youth entrepreneurship in Norway. But we have all these dozens of programs. We have a program for the second grade where the pupils are learning about their family economics. We have a program for the fifth grade where they are learning about the economics in their community, and they are starting to learn something about how important is it actually to pay your taxes. And I really think that's a topic all around in Europe. And then we have this really huge program in secondary school. We call it Economics and Career Choices. We have this collaboration with a local financial institution, and this program is so popular. So we started with the employees at the financial institution. They was going out in every class and run this program, but it becomes so popular. So by coincidence, we have to do the same as Tova. So we have to give the students, economical students, a part job, so they could go out to the pupils instead. So by coincidence, we have a peer-to-peer education there as well. And the last year now we have make a 2.0 program, so we can reach them as well in the upper secondary school when they are, of course, more aware of how can I use the money so I can buy a flat, buy a car. As you said earlier, have a driving license. So we have actually programs from primary school to upper secondary school, and we have the professional responsibility for these programs. But thanks to the collaboration with local and national financial institutions, we can offer this to the vast majority of the students in Norway. And last year we actually reached 3 out of 4 pupils in the 10th grade here in mid Norway. Of course, I really understand that not everyone knows anything about mid Norway, but our county is a little bigger than Switzerland. So we have a lot of travel, and it's a lot of very small schools. But we really want, if you are in a school and it's 6 pupils in the 10th grade, we want them to have this program as well. So it's really important for us. And this year we are increasing this 75% from last year, even better.
Okay, I wanted to say that 3 out of 4, it's really impressive. So good job. And indeed, we can see some similarities between Sweden and Norway. And I think, at least for me, that's really enlightening, like a takeaway that you engage young people to educate their colleagues. I think that's something, that's a practice that should work in all member states, because young people are all the same, all around the world. I think the career advice that you mentioned, that's also very interesting, useful, and very much needed to guide people into their career choices. And I think also what you said about community economics, paying taxes, I think that's, for example, in Czepczyński Family Foundation, in our program, we speak, for example, about volunteering. So also showing to children that there is this societal dimension. And here you also, explain why is it important to pay taxes, to contribute to the whole society. So that's indeed very important. Okay, yeah. Perfect. Thank you, Frank. And I will now move to Italy, because there are also some similarities in the approach of EY Foundation. Tiziana, you also work with young people. You also support them, let's say, in developing their entrepreneurial spirit. You also work with digital skills. So please tell us about your experience.
Yes, first of all, I have to underline that we are different from the other speakers, because of course we are a private company. So all our programs are voluntary programs made by our colleagues in the framework of our sustainability programs. So as I told you before, also EY has developed programs related to financial education, in particular for secondary schools. They are part of a broader entrepreneurial literacy initiative. Of course, we are dealing with entrepreneurs all the time because it's our work. And so we choose to collaborate with Junior Achievement, that is very well-known NGOs that serves over 10 million students around the world. And their work, they're priming them for the students for the future of work and entrepreneurship. This collaboration is made possible through our corporate skilled volunteering program that is called EY Ripples. I will spend a few words to explain you, because our way of work is really different from the other explained before. So we have this big global corporate skill volunteering program that aim to mobilize the EY network to help solve the world's most urgent social and environmental challenges. And this could be done only through collaboration with our clients, non-profits, impact network, and so on. The aim of at global level of this program is to positively impact 1 billion lives by 2030. And we have 3 core principles: using our core capabilities to make a difference, developing transformative leaders. That means that we would like that our people will do something for the others, and so they develop other skills in order to be also to have a deeper understanding of the social value of their skills, and to collaborate with other organizations, the third principle, to drive impact at scale. This project has 4 areas of focus. The first one is the one in which we are working with the students, because the area is called supporting the next generation workforce. A second is working with impact entrepreneurs. The third area is accelerating environmental sustainability. And the fourth is a new one, that is the disaster response. Of course, this is a global program. I will focus on what we are doing in Italy. In Italy, we are involving about more than 1,800 colleagues per year. Of course, not only in the first area, that is the supporting of the next generation, but only in the project we are working with junior achievement. Each year we have more than 200 colleagues that go in the schools and teach them entrepreneurial skills. What I would like to say that the main objective of the project is to teach to the student how to build a startup. And teaching students in secondary schools on how to create a startup means that we are giving practical lessons on managing bank accounts, budgeting, crafting business plans. So providing the students with a solid grasp of crucial financial principles and practices. And of course, there are a lot of other benefits for the students beyond this primary focus, because the students are working in teams, and so they are more motivated. So this will reduce school dropout. I think that also financial education will reduce this, because you will give the student concrete problems, and so they will face the reality, and this will give them a concrete usefulness of the study they are performing. On the other hand, I would like also to underline the second point, explicitly addressing financial topics. That is one of the points that was underlined before in the speech before mine. They say that someone said that parents do not want to speak about financial at home because they are, let's say, afraid. I do not know. There are a lot of things that they do not want to tell to their students. But if you are speaking explicitly with students about financial topics, and you are teaching students how to manage money in school, this will provide a lot of other benefits. For example, women empowerment. In Italy, 1 in 4 women do not have a personal bank account. Only the 12% of women negotiate their salary at the time of hiring, compared to the 50% of men. These are some recent data published by a professor at La Sapienza. The name of the professor is Rinaldi. So therefore, the financial education in schools also means breaking down social and cultural barriers that have prevent many women from fully achieving their independence. So this prevents women to really participate to the working life. And for example, if the woman employment rate will increase to 66% in Italy, and at the moment we are only at the 55%, we will increase our gross domestic product about 7%. So these are very strong numbers to justify how much is important in Italy, but in all the other countries, the financial education.
Indeed, yes. Thank you, Tiziana. And I think it's very important what you have underlined at the end. Indeed, the women empowerment, but also how financial education helps in tackling all socioeconomic differences, vulnerability. So that's really important. I think what is important for me from your experience is really this employee volunteering. So to really engage different private organizations, to engage their employees to go out and to teach about finances. And this is also what we do at our foundation. We also work with different partners, and they also engage in employee volunteering. I think that's a very good practice to be shared. Thank you very much. And I will now move, last but not least, to Victoria Rolik from Ukraine. I left you at the very end, Victoria, because your approach is very complex. I think, again, you address your activities at different age groups, as children, young people, but also adults. I think you created a money museum. You also have a special platform for training for teachers. So again, I'm pretty sure that 5 minutes is not enough for you, but please try to tell us a bit more about your activities.
Yeah, thank you, dear Margareta. So I'd like to comment on what the previous speakers spoke about the motivation, and we also did some researches just to find out if parents and kids are interested in financial literacy, and we know that almost 90% of adults want that their kids study financial literacy at school. And we also asked kids about what is interesting for them, what they would like to study. And naturally, topic number one is how do I get my first money? Then they are also interested in budget and saving, and maybe also about payment security. They are also interested in cryptocurrency, but we as the national regulator don't speak about it so far. This is why we just we know that it exists, this topic, but don't have a ready decision for this. And actually, the National Bank of Ukraine is currently working on the second national strategy, and we expect that maybe in summer or in autumn, who knows, because we can't predict under such circumstances, it will be made public and we'll be able to present it. So it will cover on how we will work with kindergarten, schools and the high school, because we want also to introduce financial literacy at high school, so that not only students learn financial literacy, but teachers are prepared at high schools. Then our mission will be partially completed. And one of the important documents, as I mentioned, is, of course, the national curriculum with for students at 8 and 9 classes, which will be obligatory. And this will be quite soon. And we already know the textbook. It will be, we think, very unusual, because we also made a survey for kids and asked them, how do you see this practical and useful and motivating textbook? And they said that it would be nice if it could look like a magazine. Maybe other speakers will also get inspiration from these ideas. So we take as a model Forbes, but the Ukrainian version. So Forbes as a business magazine, which is well known, and it is like brand number one. And this type of articles used for magazine, but not for a classical textbook. And we also would like to make it with practical tasks, as other speakers mentioned, so that students understand why I need to learn this, how I will use it, and how it will help me. But the idea is not to give just the theory, but to give some situations for self-analysis, so that pupils, they analyze what is written, they compare different scenarios, good or bad, so to say, and can draw their own conclusions on how to behave, because you can choose different options, but you must be able to analyze the consequences and accept them or not. So we speak about critical thinking as well here. Then kids wrote to us that motivation is important. So just to include some motivating stories and to choose such tone of voice in this textbook so they feel inspired and capable of learning financial literacy. And I think it's it was really interesting for us to learn about it, because you really think about it when making a textbook. And some of the topics, well, of course, this is money, budgeting, but we also include charity. Charity is one of topics important for Ukraine now and for the society in general. So it will be also included in the textbook. And another big part will be about entrepreneurship. And I also heard an interesting ideas from Frank and Tova that we can use peer learning, because we were going to speak on social entrepreneurship, and I heard other speakers mention junior achievement. They also make these like social entrepreneurship projects, and we analyze different models, how to implement entrepreneurship within a school, so that the children can not only read in a book the theory of the legislation, but to try with their own business ideas, implement them, and see the results, how it's working. So this goes with our textbook. And then another branch, what we are doing is preparation of teachers, because not only the textbook is not sufficient, so we must prepare teachers, and they must be ready to teach this subject at school. For this purpose, we already launched a distant course. This is called Financial Literacy for Educators, and it was launched just at the New Year Eve, and we were in a hurry. But we know that already 10,000 teachers subscribed to it, and already 2,000 educators received their certificates, and we are very proud of the results. And we know that much more teachers are interested. And tomorrow we are also having a conference together with our Ministry of Education and Science, and we will also present our materials for teachers, so they learn about all the initiatives and can get prepared. For this purpose, we also developed a website. So it is called Talan. Talan means also good luck, and the old word for money. So both good luck and money are necessary to be successful for a person. And so we have a website, and we also have social networks. So on Facebook, we have Telegram, and we have YouTube. So we also launched it just a couple of weeks ago, and we are very happy that there are many subscribers and people are interested. So this is how we are promoting financial literacy in Ukraine.
Perfect. Thank you, Victoria. I'm pretty sure you could speak longer about what you are doing. I think what is great and impressive is this platform for training for teachers. And as you said, 10,000 teachers have already subscribed. That's really impressive. And I think what's really important, it's also your approach, that you ask young people, you ask children what they are interested in what they want to learn about. I think that's really important, to be able to produce materials that are attractive to them. So thank you very much. So we finished the second round of our discussion, and the time is running. So for the first part, we decided we will speak about the challenges, because indeed you are taking up a lot of initiatives, you do a lot of projects, so indeed you are facing problems and challenges. We don't have much time, so I would like maybe to ask each of you to really say like one sentence. What do you believe is the biggest challenge when it comes to developing financial education in your country, and to reach out to as many children, as many young people as possible? And I would like to start with Tova. Tova, is there any particular challenge, any problem that you are facing?
I would say that we are meeting 1/3 of the students in Sweden, so there are more people that we would like to educate and needs this information. And to educate more, we need more funding. So we are looking for more companies who want to support, or grants which is suitable for this type of business.
Perfect. Thank you very much. That's indeed access to funding. It's crucial. Frank, the same challenge, the same problem, another issue that you would like to underline?
Yeah, I think we have actually the same challenge as they have in Sweden, but the really challenge was what I mentioned in the start, that you don't have this personal finance topic as a part of the teacher education. So I believe we have two paths to go. One path is obviously to have this personal finance part in the education of the teachers, or we can have a more open school. So the school will be more open to invite actors from the business life inside the school. And today we are talking about financial education, but it can as well be as to talk about critical thinking, everything we can read about in the media. So we can invite journalists inside the school. So the school can be better to invite people from the business life in the school, and then we will have people that, as we say in Norway, have the shoes on about the topic to educate the pupils.
So practical experience.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. Now I would like to ask Tiziana to share with us your experience. What is the biggest challenge you see?
Okay. In my view, a big challenge is to incorporate in modern financial education also digitally literacy. The majority of financial dealings and so the associated risks are primarily conducted via digital platforms powered by financial technology. So on one hand, the digital divide can increase the financial vulnerability of those that do not have access to digital resources and to digital education. But on the other hand, the use of digital education platforms, for example, can help make financial education accessible to a broader audience. This is especially useful in low-income areas where traditional financial education programs may not be accessible. So recently, for example, in Italy, we joined the UNICEF program that is developed in Italy by Junior Achievement again, that is called Upshift, to bring entrepreneurial education in low-income areas of Italy.
Indeed.
So
to make it more accessible.
Yes. And they also agree to provide teachers with appropriate tools and up-to-date courses, both on digital and financial topics.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. Victoria, what about you?
Yes, and I won't mention money issues, of course. So, but when we speak about teachers' preparation, maybe another idea is that it's important to recognize that economics and financial literacy are two different subjects. And for example, we have teachers who understand well economics, and they say, "Okay, it's not a problem for me." And then when we ask them to conduct a lesson or to prepare some materials, we see that it doesn't work this way. So they need some different other preparation, and this is what we are working with. And another important thing is, of course, cooperation between main regulators and between main stakeholders. For example, when we speak about Ukraine, so our main partner here is Ministry of Education, of course, and this cooperation allows us to implement financial literacy on different levels and to get access to schools and to teachers. And of course, it's very important to cooperate with other regulators, for example, with the Deposit Guarantee Fund. And we also use this tool of cooperation with commercial banks, and we invite other bodies in the country to get involved in the implementing financial literacy.
I think what you mentioned, it's for teachers indeed to understand what financial education is. And I think that now those joint financial competence framework, that's a great help, because there is a set of skills that children shall acquire. So it's really like a guidance, like a guidebook for teachers indeed. Thank you very much. Paweł, what about you? What would you say is the biggest challenge with regards to financial education?
I agree that sometimes financing is not enough. I agree that not always teachers are willing to teach finances at school, but also in Poland I see some regulations that limit the access to NGOs and entrepreneurship to schools. So I would say that altogether there is not sufficient awareness of how financial education is important. Because if we had this awareness like spread, then we would see teachers who know that they should teach finances. We would see administration that does everything to make this education modern and widely spread. And we would also see financing of introducing financial education to schools. So I believe that we need more awareness of how financial education is important for future generations.
Indeed, yeah, very important element. And last but not least, Marie-Veronique. What about you?
I don't know.
Yes, do you have challenges?
Okay, thank you. That's very nice. I don't know if regarding the challenges, I think we have a challenge to understand better this new generation, or these new generations. We need to understand better what are their needs, and I think personally, but I think I hope it's not a wrong impression. I think human in relation with education or with any subject, human is essential. I mean, of course, digitalization is, well, it's the world we are living in. But I think we have to keep this human relation. And I think it's why all my colleagues are doing a great job, and I hope we are doing so with Pedagogie to explain, but with the help of human resources. You see,
Indeed.
that is a challenge for tomorrow.
Yeah.
With intelligence, artificial intelligence, we don't know what's going to happen, but that's a big challenge.
No, indeed, and having two kids, I can tell you it's so difficult to understand, what's in their heads. So to understand this young generation, indeed. Okay, perfect. I'm very happy we have been able to conclude the third round of questions, more or less on time, I would say. We have been at the very end discussing problems, challenges. So I think it's a very good time to invite again Thomas Montcourrier from OECD. I'm not expecting, Thomas, that you will solve all the problems and that you will respond to all the challenges, but I think we'd be happy to hear also from you, your reaction, your comments to what you have heard, but also, what maybe we can still do together at European, international level to indeed face the challenges that, of course, are still there. Please, Thomas.
Yeah, thank you, Margareta, and thank you all for this really insightful exchange of views. I mean, lots of. I'm really impressed by the number of initiatives and especially the enthusiasm that is shown every time. I think that you covered many of the aspects that highlight the importance of financial education in general, but also for young people. I mean, I heard like vulnerability, women empowerment, entrepreneurship, citizenship. These are really key issues, and that maybe are not usually the core focus on the core goals on financial education, but that are also really important to me. And I'm really, I mean, from a policy perspective, I'm really interested by the challenges you mentioned. So of course, funding is always the core of the issue, but I'm really interested in training. I mean, we usually talk about training of trainers, but in the children environment. I'm really interested by the training of teachers, and I think actually it should be. I mean, all the difficulties you shared today with regard to the material, but also their motivation and so on. I think this is really something we should work on. And see them as from a national perspective. So in terms of strategies, national strategies for financial education, I think they should be seen as really a target audience in the same sense than young people or MSMEs or elderly people and so on. Teachers should be really, there should be really a big focus on them, and I think we should try to convey this idea more lately international discussions. But all in all, I mean, there are some figures that make me quite happy. I think that figures raised by Finland about the fact that children in a high majority, in great majority, want to learn about financial literacy, it's really encouraging. And on the other side, the fact that parents and also teachers, as shown in Ukraine, are really interested in that and want to know more, is, I mean, it's really positive and something that shows that I mean, we are not doing something useless. So I mean, thank you very much for everything you shared today. I have a lot of figures and a lot of ideas that I will show to my colleague, and I would be happy to keep in touch. And no, thank you for organizing that. I think it's absolutely key. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you, Thomas, for being with us, for your feedback. And of course, we are not finishing because, but I think there is still, a lot of potential for cooperation. And I think I would like to express, in the name of all of us, really big thanks to OECD for what you are doing with regards to financial education. Now, as also promised, I would like to ask Arja Krauchenberg from the European Parents Association to share with us, Arja, your experience, or rather the experience of European parents, I would say. So I think maybe it's a question to which the answer is known, but the question would be whether parents are interested in financial education, if they would like their children to get financial skills, and if they believe schools are doing enough when it comes to financial education, or more should be done. So please, really curious to hear your reactions to the debate we have just had.
Yes, thank you very much, Margareta, for inviting the European Parents Association to give their views on the topic. I think you have all understood that the landscape of education, not only in the means of financial education, but in education in general, is very, very diverse in Europe. That has to do with tradition, with historical developments, of course. So there is no general European approach, I would say, because we have seen also in the financial field how differently things are approached. I must also say, like the colleague from OECD, that I'm very, very impressed by all the initiatives that are going on, all the things that are being done, and I'm especially happy about certain, I would say, government bodies. Now, the National Bank of Ukraine is not the Ministry of Education, obviously, but it's a big government body, and I think that is very, very gives a lot of hope, because I think that we really need to tackle that issue on this level. It is not possible to only do that with private initiatives, as good as they might be, as engaged as they might be, but if we really want to reach all the children, and we have heard about the vulnerable groups, etc., then we really need to have that as a national strategy. And I think all the documents, the guidelines from the EU, from the OECD can help to establish these kind of strategies and to make it really national endeavor. Now, when it comes to parents, I'm very, very happy to hear about the numbers. I mean, if we talk about 90+% of parents being interested in their children getting financial education in schools, and also the interest from the student sides, I think that won't be very different from one country to the next. I think if we did that in all the European countries, we would probably come to rather similar numbers. And I think if there's interest, then we have a good chance also of reaching people. What we have to be a little bit careful about is how we bring that into schools. What we see in many countries, and I'm very impressed that Ukraine has not committed that mistake. I really appreciate that you are having a whole school approach. So you were saying that this is a transversal subject that needs to be included in all the other subjects. What we see in many other countries is unfortunately that things are added on top of the curriculum. So we have a new challenge, whether it is health or financial literacy or media education, we add to the curriculum that we already have, which on the one hand makes the curriculum explode. And there's only so many hours in a week that you can have children sit in school and do things. And on the other hand, we also have a lack of teachers who can actually sustain these kind of additional programs in schools. So I think what is really, really important is a whole school approach, and I would even go further and say the whole community approach, to bring in, as was also mentioned, to bring in experts from the outside. But this has to be done in a structured way. It's not, oh, the school has found an expert and I bring that expert now in and we do a course in our class. That's great for that school. It's great for the classes that can profit from that, but that's not mainstream, and we do not reach all the children that we need to reach. And very often it's exactly the vulnerable children that we do not reach with these kind of actions. So we have to be careful of how we do that. And I think in the meantime, we really need a change in the educational systems. We need to understand that all these things are interlinked. And I think the colleague from Italy mentioned that very well. It is not only about financial literacy, it's about understanding economics, it's about well-being. So these things all need to come together. And that's why we really need to rethink our curricula. And sometimes, when curricula are rethought, it's about what can we take out to bring something new in. And that, in my view, is a huge mistake. It's dangerous because very often the very important subjects like arts and music fall flat, and physical exercise, which then lead to obesity and all other sorts of issues, because we bring in media education or financial education or whatever. So I really think we need to rethink the system as such and to cooperate in the different subjects. And that's why I'm so impressed by what Ukraine is trying to do and saying, yes, financial education, it's not on top of what we are doing. It is integrated, and it's not only the math teacher, it's all the teachers who have to integrate that. And if we can come to this point where we integrate also media education, health education in this way, then I think we will have the whole school, the whole community approach, and we will really add to the children's acquiring the life competencies that the EU speaks about. Because we are not doing education for the sake of education and having a certificate at the end, but we are doing that to prepare children for life. And if we really want to do that, then this has to be in a more concerted manner.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Arja, for your very, very, very interesting comments. And I think that's also a good moment to move to chat, because we have indeed some questions. And I think you will be in a good place to respond to the first question. We have a question, the following question. So how can parents and schools collaborate together in order to support financial skills in children from a young age? So how do you believe this cooperation should look like between schools and parents? And I would also ask if you believe that European parents have enough skills also to talk to children about finance.
Well, I think that the landscape of finances has changed enormously. I think the colleague from Ukraine also mentioned the cryptocurrencies. So, I mean, all these things did not exist when we were young. Yeah. So it's for parents, it's very difficult to sometimes keep track with all the developments that are going on, and then to answer these questions. So I think if we talk about education of adults, not only the teachers, but also parents, and schools could be places of learning for everyone. It's also not logical that we only open the schools at 8 o'clock in the morning and then at 3 o'clock we close them, and they're closed over holidays and they're closed in the evenings and weekends and so on. I think they could be community learning centers where we offer also these kind of courses, learnings for parents, for teachers, for everybody who is interested, because maybe there are also other people who haven't got children, but they would be interested in learning more about how financial markets work today, because it's not the same as when they were young. When we were young, you had a savings account, a little savings book where you once in a year you went and you put your money in there, and you got some interest for it, and that was about it. What people knew about finances, and then they had their when they grew up, they had their own account in the bank where their salary would come in and where they paid out their expenses. That was it, and nothing further. So I think that has changed enormously. There are lots of challenges, and I think people need to get good information, and that could be a place where we offer that to everybody.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Thank you. Yeah, indeed. I believe that cooperation between schools and parents, it's always crucial, not only in case of financial education,
Absolutely.
but all other subjects. For this, maybe I will also ask my colleague Paweł to share with us your perspective, because at our foundation, of course, we address mainly schools, and our programs are aimed at schools, but actually these are also materials that can be used by parents. Do you have any experience with this? How to engage parents in financial education of children?
Well, there are a few ways that we try to approach. So first of all, we always implement our project to schools' libraries. So we are not giving the books to one class or teachers only. They're actually left in libraries. So 25 books can be used during lessons by teachers, but still there are few books that students, pupils can actually take from the library and bring home. We believe also that if we have this financial literacy at school, children will simply start talking about it. We actually did research on it. So 2 years ago, we asked schools to send questionnaire to parents. Do they see any change in attitudes and knowledge and behavior of their children who took part in this ABC of Economics financial program? And we found out that yes, indeed, parents answered that their children are much more cautious right now, and they ask more questions about particular things concerning finances or occupations. So they saw the difference, and children started asking questions at home, which was obviously also something that brings this topic into households. But there is also a second approach. So we, as many of prelegents today spoke before, we are also lacking financing because we have so many questions from schools, how they can have the project from us. We are, of course, trying to implement as much as possible with our own fundings or with money that we can acquire from our activities. But we also enable parents to take things into their hands. We have a program that is called Edu Piggy Bank, in Polish Edu Skarbonka, which is a project where any parent can actually start a crowdfunding project for implementing financial education in their preschool or primary school. It's just enough to enter the data of the school, donate any amount of money. It can be 10 euros, anything that a parent can actually afford, and spread the news around parents at school. So if parents see that this program is important and they would like to have it at their children's school, it's simply enough to donate any amount of money when they acquire enough Then we are doing all the trainings for teachers. We are providing the books, we are providing the worksheets, infographics, and we give everything that is needed to run the project in the school for next years, many years, not only 1 year.
Yes, and even yesterday, as part of Global Money Week, we had a webinar for teachers, but also parents, online webinar about indeed financial education, how to teach children about savings, how to save for the future. We have also another question. Does the business sector actively engage in supporting financial education for children? I think we had an example from Tiziana. That indeed, I mean, as EY Foundation, that the business is indeed engaging. Tiziana, do you see other companies, private entities also engaging in Italy in financial education, or you are rather, I would say, an exception?
No. As I told you at the beginning, there are a lot of projects run by different institutions or other entrepreneurs or other organization, private organization. I am also in the board of Junior Achievement Italia, and so I'm sitting in the board with other institutions, other companies that are supporting, for example, the entrepreneurship programs of Junior Achievement. But the banks or other financial institutions are supporting programs. But as I would like just to comment what was said before by the lady from the European Parents Association, that it's very in Italy and the other country are very different one by the other, but it's very important the work made at European level in order to have a common literacy, a common also wording, because this will increase the knowledge of our students, of our small children, because it's important in this globalized world to have a common language, also on financial literacy. So this was one of the most important things was said before.
Yes.
So
Thank you. Tova, if I remember correctly, I think when we were preparing for this debate, I think you told me that you work together with companies and actually you are also receiving some donations from the private sector for your projects. I think, that's a kind of engagement from the business, let's say. What would be a reaction?
Yes, that's true. We have 7 companies or like large companies in the finance sector or trade associations, which was part when we funded or when we started Privatekonomi, and they've been part with. Oftenly, it's part of the sustainability work for that company. And we also do some collaborations with those companies. It could be like mutual debates or mutual projects or things like this.
Okay, great. Does anybody else would like to respond to this question about the role of business and if the business is engaging actively? I see Frank. I don't know. No, but it's actually my colleague who is like putting people on the screen. I don't know if anybody would like to react to this question.
Well, I may add a couple of words that we normally invite banks to participate in our informational campaign, both for adults and for kids. And for example, Global Money Week, which was started yesterday, is also supported by maybe 1/3 or even 1/2 of banks in Ukraine. They make different posts, and they also go to schools and conduct lessons or webinars for kids. And there is often a big feedback both from bank employees, because they enjoy this process and they like that they can go to their kids to school and to be useful to speak about their profession, because it's also a good opportunity for them to speak about the profession of a banker. And teachers also wait for them, and kids enjoy such events very much.
Okay, great. Marie-Veronique, you wanted to add something?
So, no, I just wanted to say what you've already underlined. Banks are in the front line. I mean, banks, they have also interest to have clients better informed, better trained, and to avoid difficulties and incidents, banking incidents. But I think as for the savings banks, and I'm talking about the savings banks, it's a bit in their DNA, I think, because in some countries, like I think in Germany, they have a public mission to inform people, and so it's really goes far. And in France, I think we are naturally and committed to this financial education project. That's why it's a bit special. But I think banks, it's a bit natural for them to give the good information at the right moment, and with you see, not to be totally natural, but to be the more natural possible.
Indeed. I would like also just to add that actually the Czepczyński Family Foundation is an example of how business is engaging into financial education, because this is a result of CSR activities of a company from Poland that decided to engage in financial education. And because the project was growing, the owner of the company, Artur Czepczyński, decided to establish a foundation and really donate part of his income into the financial and inclusive education. So that's another example. I would like to move to the next question, which is, I think we have already touched a bit this topic, but let's see if there are any other reactions. So the question is, do you believe that financial education should be a separate subject in school, or it should be integrated into, for example, mathematics curriculum? Any ideas about this? Any volunteers? Frank.
Yeah, I sat and read this question, and I see the question from Kaczmarczyk as well, and I really believe that these two questions are into the same subject. Because
if you let me just, I will read the question from that you mentioned. So
Yep.
It was about, the first is about whether financial education should be a separate subject, and the second question is, how is the success of financial education programs measured in European countries? What metrics or indicators are used to assess their impact on young people's financial literacy? And please, Frank.
Yeah, because of course, when you have a debate about financial education in school, it's really easy to think that okay, but maybe the solution is to have the financial education as a separate subject in schools. But today we know that interdisciplinary activities in schools are the way that the pupils really can learn. So when we are going into the schools and we have these financial topics, we reach goals in mathematics, we reach goals in social studies. In Norway we have a subject called educational choices, and we reach goals in all these three subjects. And then we suddenly reach the main goal for the education, and that is deep learning, that the pupils are actually learning what they are supposed to learn at schools. And when we can have this interdisciplinary educational program, we can be more sure that we are actually reaching the goals we want with this education. Of course, when you are talking about measurements and indicators and everything, we have some evaluation when we are finished doing our program out in the schools, and we have this tremendous good results when we ask the teachers, do you want us to come back next year? We have 5.6706 that they say that we want you to come back next year. And we should remember that the teachers are the professionals, and they can see what we are doing out in the school. They see how we are reaching the curriculum, and then we know something about, yeah, we know that this is interdisciplinary. We can see at the pupils that they are really learning something about this, and we won't have the results before the pupils are 22, 27 years old. So in that point of view, you can't measure this, but we can measure it because we are all professionals that are out in the school.
Thank you, Frank. Thomas, would you like maybe somehow comment or not? I'm thinking about the PISA, yeah, and how do you measure maybe this financial literacy, if there are any concrete indicators?
Yes, thank you. I mean, I think the questions was more related to financial programs as such.
Yes.
So I won't go too much into that because I mean, you are the experts about this. But of course, I mean, we strongly advocate for measuring the levels of financial literacy, let's say at national level, and then compare it at the international level. So there are many different let's say variables that could be taken into account. So PISA is using one specific methodology together with Ministry of Education. We at the OECD International Network for Financial Education, we mainly do it for adults because I mean, as you know, for young people it implies going to schools and having the children parents let's say support. I mean, yeah, because I mean they are minors. But I mean, if I can just say, I won't go into all the variables. I mean, it will take too much time. But really the key aspect is not to focus only on knowledge. So of course it's a key component. But I mean, there are many questions about knowledge. So going from like the usual question on savings, investing, all that, but also new questions that reflect the current development. So I mean, for example, we are strongly advocating to add questions about, for example, crypto or personal data protection, which are really key issues, and especially for young age. But also apart from this knowledge question, it's really important to focus on actual behaviors. I mean, how the knowledge is put into actual behavior. I mean, do they apply the knowledge? And also attitudes, which is something that we sometimes struggles to measure, in the sense that sometimes there is no like wrong or I mean correct or wrong answers, like it's no yes and no question like for knowledge questions. But it's really important that children get the motivation, the confidence, for example. So of course it's difficult to measure, but I mean, we try to put some questions to let's say measure that and to score that. But yeah, I would say it should be a kind of mix of all these variables.
Thank you, Thomas. And I think that's really a great summary, I would say, of our discussion, what you have just said, that it's not only knowledge that matters, but especially skills and behaviors. So really the practical implications. And I think that's a very good maybe summary, but also a direction for all of us, so that we should also remember when doing financial education that it's really about shaping behaviors for the future. So thank you very much. Once again, I would like to thank to all of the panelists, experts for joining us today. I would like to thank you for your active participation. I am pretty sure that your activities in the area of financial education can serve as an inspiration for others. I would like to thank once again, of course, to OECD for its continuous effort and support, and for organizing the Global Money Week, because that's a great opportunity for all of us to meet and to discuss. It was really great to see so many like-minded people around one virtual table, and I hope we will have an opportunity maybe to meet, in reality around a real table, maybe, in Brussels next year or in Paris. So once again, thank you very much. I wish you all the success with your projects, and I would like to wish you once again happy Global Money Week to everybody. Thank you very much, and we finished on time. I'm very happy for this. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Margareta. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.